Hello, my name is Aldrin Enrile and I am vOffice's General Manager, and I will be talking to you today about a shift in perspective. Before we begin, I would like to say that I am not a scientist. I am a citizen who would just like to share my knowledge and some of our best practices so that you too as a business owner can apply this to your business. So I would like to highlight on a shift of perspective by first discussing the effects of the COVID-19 to you personally, or on a personal level, before we get onto the effects of the COVID-19 on your business. The effects of the COVID-19 is basically having people adjust the way of living, or basically their day-to-day norm, by practicing social distance. And now that we are in an enhanced community lockdown, we are now forced to stay at home. And what that means for a lot of the private companies is that we have put our companies into a temporary pause in order to comply with this enhanced community quarantine. And what that ultimately means is that we would have losses in the company by putting a pause in our normal operation. There are 3 challenges for businesses, and these are the main things that you should pay attention to in order to keep your business afloat. A is how you can get your products to the client now that we are in an enhanced community quarantine. B, make use of your service now that our offices are closed. And C, people's decision to hold on to their money during this uncertain times. Okay, so a lot of what we have realized the first 2 weeks of the enhanced community quarantine, even with our BCP or business continuity plan, is that there are always a lot of room for improvement in terms of your business continuity plan. Even if you have prepared this, or if you don't know what this is, I would suggest you look up and best have a BCP for the future. A BCP may be for a natural calamity like a flood, or an internet or IT related problems for your business. So it's always great to have a BCP to have a smooth operation during crisis. So the first 2 weeks of application for us on our BCP has been hectic, as expected. It has been hectic, but it is important that you have one. Now, if you don't have one, it's time to do that, because you're never gonna get to solving the 3 problems without a BCP. Okay, so the 3 things again are getting your product to your clients, making your clients to make use of your service, and C, the third one, people's decision to hold on to their money during these uncertain times. Okay, so let's see, where was I? So the big question now is, how are you transforming your business to keep it afloat during these tough times, now that we are in an enhanced community quarantine? To get to your product, the first thing that you must know is that logistically, you must have a partner who can get your product to your clients. But there's no way to do that if your communications or tools, such as your website, is not able to take on orders. So you must first have a working virtual tool for you to receive orders from the client. Okay? Now, what if you're a service-oriented company? A service-oriented company can be in the form of, like, say, a gym. Like the gym I go to now, they have changed the way they approach this, and it is business as usual for them, because we now they're developing workouts which you can do at home, and it is distributed through an application. So it is all a matter of changing the way we perceive your product or service. That is why I'd like to highlight again that it is important that we change the way we look at your product or service, because that is the only way you can think outside the box and to get your products out there. Okay, so if you're a service, think of getting your service to your client through virtual by using the internet or by using basically communication tools that you have. Now, the people's decision to hold on to their money during these uncertain times is another topic, because at a time of crisis, people want to hold on to their cash because it is a form of security. Now, that would be one of your biggest challenge in order to sell a product or a service. So to do that, you must position your product or your service as a tool that could help their business or help them on a personal level. Is this product something that could help them during these tough times? Is your service something that could keep them sane during this crazy times? So you have to position your product or service in a way where it can still be relevant during COVID-19. Okay, so what are the three things that I mentioned earlier is actually about the three things that our group GM mentioned to me the other week, was the three challenges that you face when you're trying to sell or renew a product to a client who are also facing this lockdown together with you. It may come off as insensitive when we sell a product to the client right now, because we are in a crisis and we're still selling. That is something that we want to stay away from becoming or sounding insensitive. So we have to change again how we perceive our product and how we look at the way we're selling things. Maybe you shouldn't even be using the word selling. Maybe you can say you are talking about a service that can be again relatable to the situation right now. Okay, so the three things that we have highlighted as an issue is that first, it is money. Second, it is payment. And third, it is again the uncertainty of the future. So let us not confuse what is money and payment, because they are two different things. So, and there are two different problems, and they should have two different solutions for them. When we're talking about money, and your client is talking about how they don't have money right now, they don't want to renew their subscription, or they don't want to buy the product, you want to now again change their perspective or the way they look at it by giving them solutions. So if money was the concern, can your product or can your company offer them, say, a discount or some sort? And when we're talking about payment, we're talking about getting the client to pay, because payment can be a challenge, because maybe the client don't want to pay because of uncertainty. Number two and number three are related, because when client don't want to pay, it's because again it is a concern of uncertainty. So we have developed a split payment option. So you have to open up and create ways for your clients to get to avail your service, because again, sales is the lifeline of any business, and one of the main challenges for all consumers right now is being able to pay because nobody can go out. So you must also highlight by changing again in perspective that there's an online payment method for your company, and you can remind them that there are split payments. And now for the last one, which is uncertainty, you can again look into your business as a tool for them to use during these tough times. But if you feel like the client is not really capable of purchasing a product or a service right now, the best way to go at it to keep your business afloat, not just for now, but also for when the lockdown is over, is to maintain or keep a relationship running. So how you're going to look at this if you're still not making sales is that you're investing in a relationship or a possible sale in the future. Okay, so there's no like loss in invested effort, because these people that you talk to right now may not be availing of your service now or your product, but they are someone who down the line could be a potential client for you and your business. So business should be as usual. So just change your perspective and change the way you look at your product and service right now. Okay? I mentioned about the BCP earlier, so I would like to just highlight some of the basics on creating your BCP or business continuity plan in order for you to apply the three golden rule which I mentioned, which is the problems, which is the money, the payment, and the uncertainty. So these are the three things you must always have answers for. Okay, so now the basics for creating a BCP. You can look this up on the internet and learn how to create a solid BCP for your business. But I'll go through the basics. There are 7 tips or 7 bullets here, which is 1, choosing. To start off your BCP, you must first choose the core team or your crisis management team, because without them, this whole thing is just not going to work. And 2, line up the people who are part of your crisis management to be part of your skeletal workforce. And 3, the budget. 4, communication plan, which involves, of course, not just your internal communication, but also your communication for your clients and how your clients are going to be communicating with you during the lockdown. 5, equipment and supplies. And when we say equipment and supplies, what we're talking about is, like say if you're someone who sells a product, do you have a partner logistics who can get your product to the clients? Do you have the warehouse or enough supplies during certain periods, certain times, okay? Now 6 is, for me, is very crucial, which is people's capacity. And when I say people's capacity, what we need to pay attention here is choosing the skeletal workforce or the people from your crisis management team to have the capacity to work during the calamity or a crisis. You have to check whether they have the proper tools or equipment. Do they have internet at home? Will they have telephone? So you have to look at all these things in order for your company to have a smooth operation during a crisis. And number 7, your BCP should have a timeline or basically a line where a period for your business to recover. Okay, now we get to my 6 tips on things to remember during times like this in order for you to change perspective and to get to your market and to basically shift your perspective so that your business can be running and staying afloat. Okay? So 1, think outside the box, shift your perspective, and realize the opportunities that any situations that may come. So 2nd, what are the obstacles specific to your business model? So you must determine now whether your business can run during times like this, whether you'll have, again, I'm going round and round about this, whether you'll have a logistic partner, whether you can get your service out there through virtual assistants. And 3, see if there is an opportunity to bring your service out there through technology, again. 4, know your rights as a business owner and the things that could lessen your operational costs, such as the breather on rental, and by going for skeletal workforce even after the lockdown. The skeletal workforce even after the lockdown is part of your BCP, which basically is a continuity plan in order for your company to regain some of the losses that had occurred during the lockdown or a crisis. Number 5, consumer behavior would change even after the lockdown is lifted. Know that people will still want to be home and remain home. So it is important that during this lockdown that you plan ahead and plan for your product or service, keeping in mind, changing in perspective, how consumers would be looking at your product. And finally, the next best product or service could be within your catalog and just haven't discovered it. So what that means is have a look at your whole company's portfolio and have a look at all the services that you offer or the product that you offer. Look at it in a way that you've never looked at it before, because you'll never know if the product or service that you have there existingly in your portfolio could be something that is useful or something that is needed now. Okay? Now, regardless of your business model, the only way this whole plan is going to work is through communication. Whether it is internal or it is external, communication is the lifeline of a business. So the question is, does your business have the right communication tool it needs? Okay? As a virtual office provider, I would like to emphasize this because during the first day of the quarantine, our data showed that we had a spike in our calls. We had about 86% an increase in calls during the lockdown. And 2 days after the announcement, the data on calls remained on a high of 61% based on a weekly average, which goes to show how important communication is and how communication is so important and it's so needed, especially during times like this. So never lose any opportunity by not answering your phone calls or by cutting any communications with your client. So that said, I'd just like to plug that vOffice has a call answering product which you guys can look up to. Look into our website and you'll know about our call answering product and how it can help your business as well and help your business continuity. I hope my short 20-minute made sense to you guys, and I hope it has changed your perspective and the way you're going to look at your business, your product, and how you will be looking at this whole situation now and even after the lockdown. Stay safe and wash your hands. We will get through all of this.